My name is Patrick Ng. I'm a third year NYU student. My parents are from Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. They immigrated here during the 70s. They got married here, and as of now, they're naturalized citizens, and they had me in 1987. I'm their only child. So I brought home a lot of the American influences. My mom worked in Chinatown ever since she actually moved here. My father, he's a little bit more Americanized. He's worked at different cooking companies, restaurants. Right now, he's a chef for British Airways at Newark Airport. So he's a little bit more Americanized. But I bring most of the American influence home. In terms of their political views, um, I guess I would say they're a little bit more conservative than liberal. I was actually raised in a predominantly African American community, and I remember a lot of times where just like hanging out with African Americans would just bring a lot of attention to them. But over time, they saw that their whatever their prejudices or whatever they had, they kind of got over that a little bit. But definitely the clash of cultures, they weren't really into that at all. Most Asian immigrants, well, those who immigrate to New York, they tend to stay within their own community, within their own background. So even there in America, they don't have a lot of exposure to other cultures, especially my mom, who's been working in Chinatown since she moved here. So she doesn't have a lot of interaction with people outside of our race. So, when I do, she doesn't really look greatly upon that. I've asked them, are they going to vote? Who are they going to vote for? Well, my mom said she's not going to vote for any of them because she doesn't like either John McCain or Barack Obama. My father, he's not really into politics as well, even though he follows the news. Both my parents are very news conscious, but they're not very active in participating in politics. I don't know. I feel like most immigrants who come here, they feel, although they live here, they feel kind of detached from what's ever happening in the larger country. Especially Asians who have their own little, you know, own established communities where they care more about what's going on in their homeland than what's going on in the country that they live in. I mean, as long as they don't complain, then I won't bring up the fact that they don't vote. But when they do, I will say, how can you vote? But I don't know. I don't think they're registered to vote. Although they're naturalized citizens, they're not registered to vote. I don't believe so. My mom asked me who I was voting for. I said Barack Obama, and she just gave me this kind of indifferent look. We don't really discuss politics a lot, only because I'm afraid that our views are so different that it's just going to spark this huge battle that I just don't want to have with my parents. You know, just like whenever the topic of race comes up, they just sometimes say things that are kind of ridiculous and politically incorrect, and it makes me so mad. I remember one time my father said something about Hispanics at a restaurant. I was like, Dad, you can't say that. He was generalizing. It was something like, all Hispanics do this. And I was like, Dad, you cannot say that. That's totally wrong. And I asked him, how would you feel if someone said all Asians do this? And then, it's just stuff like that. Touchy issues. Which I'm sure is not only me and my parents. I'm sure most of the country. It's, hot button issues like that. I wish I was more active in the campaign, but I'm definitely involved in watching the debates, the news, the issues. I'm definitely trying to stay on top of that because since it is my first time voting, I take great pride and responsibility in doing that. So I want to make sure my vote is informed as much as possible.